revisiting my dreams with the king.
Three seasons in. Man, I'm so glad to be here. Every time I hit record, I start off a little bit nervous and then I feel with a lot of pride. I'm excited and I can't wait to get started. Man, I also know every time I hit record that there's somebody on the other side of this camera and somebody on the other side of this microphone that's waiting to hear and needs to hear exactly what I'm about to say. So some of those people are you today. Thank you for being here. This excites me. I'm just honored and blessed to still be doing this a year later, 3 seasons later, about to approach season 4 and wrap this season up. I mean, this season was an amazing season. I had guests that showed up and showed out this season. People show, and every season was the same like that. Season 1 and season 2, same thing with each guest. People showed up. They showed up vulnerable. They showed up, ready to share their experiences and their real trials and errors, honestly, and then share their journey of where they came from and how they got to where they are now. I'm so blessed to be able to do this. I'm so inspired by each guest that I've interviewed, and I'm inspired by you as listeners, as viewers. This show, it only exists because of you. It's only what it is because of you, the viewers. I don't count views so much. I do acknowledge every one of my subscribers, every one of the subscribers to this channel, and I appreciate every single one of you that are watching. But I don't count the number of views so much. I do see them and I do acknowledge, their analytical presence, but I don't carry them as weight in terms of, helping me to determine the success of the show or how I feel about doing what I'm doing. When one person watches, I feel gratitude. When one comment comes across, I feel gratitude. When one share or one download I see, I'm extremely excited about the potential of impacting lives because no one has to like, comment, or share. And when they do, it lets you know that you're doing something right. So I'm so honored this season to be able to have brought every single guest on that I brought onto this show. But I want you guys to know a couple things before we get started. The question on the thumbnail of this episode is it worth it? Is it still worth it? I want you to know 2 things. First of all, the world doesn't need more content. If this was a show about content, just delivering just random content, it might not succeed. But the world doesn't need more content. It needs more truth. And that's what this show has always been about. Truth, exploration of real life stories of trial, error, and success. And that's the impact that I'm having, even if it's one person at a time, even if it's one guest at a time, even if it's only impacting me. When I interview these guests, I'm impacted by it. So I hope that you're inspired and I hope that you're impacted by it. 2 things. I want to remind you, every person listening, I want to remind you that your dream does not have an expiration date. Your dream doesn't have an expiration date, y'all. It doesn't. You don't need a certification. You don't need a degree to make your dream come to pass. If inspiring people, if educating people, if, just networking with people, building networks and communicating with people is a desire, impacting lives is a desire of yours, you don't need a degree to do that. You don't need any levels of experience. Your own life lived, your own lived experience is all that you need, and your passion and your own decision and commitment to doing something you want to do. That's all you need. You don't need a degree to do this. You don't need a degree to do this. To me, is it worth it? It's very much worth it. Today is about those 2 things, though. It's a reminder that your dreams don't have to die wherever they are right now. They don't have to lay dormant back in your past. They don't have an expiration date. And that you don't need a certification. You don't need degrees. You don't need an overwhelming amount of knowledge and experience to accomplish some of the things that you want to accomplish today, especially if they're an arena in the field of podcasting or media. The second thing I want to share with you, though, is that I'm working on something. I've been developing something, and I'm here to help you. If you're a person like me and you want to inspire others, and you've been wanting to get your show, your podcast, your thoughts, your idea, your impact off the ground and reach more people, stay tuned because I got something for you. I've been working on, and I'm here to help. There are two types of people, or two types of lies, excuse me, that people tell themselves. The first lie is that I'm too old. I'm beyond my years. I'm beyond my time. The second lie is that I'm not interesting enough. My life is not dramatic enough. I'm not engaging enough. I don't know what to talk about. I don't have an amazing background of experiences to pull from. No matter what your life is, no matter what your lived experiences are, they're unique to you, good, bad, and ugly. And there's someone out there that can relate to those experiences. There's someone out there that will be impacted, can be positively impacted by your story, by your overcoming, right? By you telling how you made it through those experiences, by you connecting with other people who've also had those experiences. The power in that is tremendous. And it starts with one conversation. It starts with one person being willing to start that conversation. In terms of inspiration, there's a lot of podcasts and there's a lot of information out there. But I started this conversation for me, for my peers, for my community, for the people I went to school with, I've worked with, that I've coached, all of my friends and family and peers. That's why I started this. And hopefully it will branch beyond them to other people. But I started this to inspire my community, my village, my people, my way, one person at a time. I'm working on something to help you do that too. Man, don't be a person who lives in those lies. Don't tell those lies to yourself. You're not too old. You're not too uneducated. You do have the ability and you are capable. You do have the experiences. I can help you find those experiences too. You do have a valuable story. You have a lot of them, believe it or not. You just don't know how to share them or where to pull them from. And I can help you with that. Man, here's part of my story. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee right now. I went to an HBCU, Tennessee State University. I graduated from high school in Northern California. I was born and raised there in the city of Vallejo. On June 16th, 1992, I graduated from high school. That was a Wednesday. On Saturday, June 20th, 1992, I was in Nashville at Tennessee State University on campus by myself. I have no family out here, had no family in Nashville, in Tennessee at all. I didn't know a single person. Well, I did know one person from my hometown. Shout out to Montoya Graham. I did know Montoya Graham, who happened to also be the only other person from my hometown or from California, period, at the time at Tennessee State University. But that's neither here or there. I took this trip by myself. I had to learn one step at a time how to adapt to life in the South, coming from the West Coast, being a California kid, not knowing anybody. I'm talking about totally new, totally different experiences. I mean, lifestyle, weather, food, the conversations, the dialect, everything was different. And I traversed through it with intention to be successful, to adapt, to find my village, to find my way, to create my community. And I did by being me, just by being me. I didn't do anything special. So, I also spent years developing people. I spent so many years developing athletes, managing people in the different career paths that I've had, mainly most of it in retail and hospitality. And when you're working with people, I realized in developing people that the most powerful thing that I can do is use my voice. Use my voice. As a coach, I use my voice. As a manager, as a leader, I use my voice, my influence, my impact from my voice, from my spoken and lived experiences. That's how I trained. That's how I led. That's how I mentored. That's how I inspired. And at this age, see all these gray hair? You saw these gray hairs? One would think that, I'm beyond the hill and a little bit too old to be doing something like this. You're never too old. You're never too old. At this age, I'm experienced. At this age, I have a plethora of wisdom. At this age, one thing I can still do is talk, put a microphone in front of my face and inspire people on the other side of the camera. That doesn't take a degree. It doesn't take years of experience. All it takes is me sharing my lived story with you. That's all it takes for you. These are just stories. No matter what podcast you're watching, you're telling stories. They may come in different forms and different fashions, but they're storytelling. And through your stories, you can find your and build your community. One thing that's important to remember is that you can't compare your success to someone else's success. I had to find that out the hard way. In the very beginning, approaching this with the wrong mentality, I wanted to be as successful as some of the bigger podcasts out there. This is at the very, very, very beginning. It didn't last too long, but at the very beginning. And I had to quickly realize that I'm not them. They're not me. Their background is not my background. My background is not their background. My podcast is not their podcast. Their podcast is not mine. I don't have the lived experiences they have. They don't have the lived experiences I have. So I'm going to build and grow with the lived experiences I have. And I'm going to find my village, and my village is going to find me based on their attraction to those experiences. And so comparison is a thief of joy. And if you go into a venture, if you're thinking about maybe starting a podcast and building your village around a podcast, and this is why we're talking all about this, like, is a podcast still worth it? If you've been thinking about doing a podcast, if you've been thinking about starting your own village and own community through a podcast, stick around, because that's kind of where we're going with this episode. This is a season 3 wrap up. Definitely going to acknowledge and give some credence to my guests from season 3. Very honored to have had each of you here on this show. But it's also a call to action for those of you who look at me maybe and say, I'm kind of inspired by what he's doing. I'm intrigued by what he's doing. I have some questions about what he's doing. I would love to do something like that. I'm just scared, nervous, don't know how to start, where to start, X, Y, Z. That's why I'm here. That's part of what this podcast is for, in addition to the celebration of everything that we've accomplished in season 3. But I've got to this point, in season 3 by just being diligent to my own self, being committed to my own word, being consistent with what I said I was going to do. And that is just show up and try to impact people by being honest and being me. And that's it. Consistency doesn't always look like perfection. Consistency doesn't always look like the exact same thing time after time. It just looks like forward motion. Some of the motion slow, some of the motions faster, but it's still forward, consistently moving forward. So growth, it just takes time. It just comes with time. It comes with the desire to do. I didn't get a degree in this. I went to school. I told you I went to HBCU, I went to Tennessee State University, but I didn't get a degree in this. I didn't get a degree in podcasting. I didn't get a degree in how to use a microphone. I didn't get a degree in this camera and Wi-Fi and technology and all these lights. I didn't get a degree in any of that. It came from experience. If you watch some of my podcasts when I first started, if you go through all my episodes, you'll see that there's some podcasts where the lighting wasn't so great. There's some podcasts where the audio wasn't so great, and where even some where the editing wasn't as polished as my most recent episodes. And that is growth. That's part of growing. That's part of learning you and learning your technology and learning what your capabilities are and expanding upon your capabilities. You'll also see the progression of the show. If you go through my first episode through season 1, 2, and 3, you'll see how I adapted and added segments and changed how the set looked on the inside on the screen. Those are adaptations of growth and execution. You can do that. It just comes with the desire. The desire. All you have to have is the desire. And you don't have to have the desire to be a technological genius or wizard. You just have to have the desire to want to impact people. If you have the desire to want to impact people, I can help you with the rest. The rest is really not that hard. That's the easy part. The rest of it, you starting with that desire and you continuing on with that desire, that's the challenging part. That's what I'm here to help you with. Your experience and your passion, along with consistently delivering that message that you have that you want to deliver, is what is going to solidify your growth in this field if you decide to do something like this. It is your lived experiences and the passion that you have for sharing those lived experiences, and you consistently showing up to deliver those experiences to the audience of people who watch. That builds your show. that builds your podcast. One episode at a time, one conversation at a time, one release and upload at a time, one view at a time, one subscriber at a time. If you don't know if having a podcast is something that you desire, but you're not sure what to talk about, what to title your podcast, what to theme your podcast, let me tell you, we'll find it. We'll find it. What are your lived experiences? Have you had challenges raising children and successfully done it? Do you have a sobriety story? Have you become sober after an addiction? Have you overcame an abusive relationship? Have you built something from scratch that the world doesn't know about that might find what you've done amazing? Are you in the process of creating something that could change, people's lives? Have you volunteered for some things that made an impact on you so much that you want to keep doing those types of things for other people? Like all of these types of things are conversations. Are you an author who writes books and maybe want to help other people get their first book written? It's a podcast for you. Like all of that is a podcast. All of that is your authority. Every one of your lived experiences flushed out is a story and is a podcast, because every one of your stories has a community around it that relates to that story. And that's why you create the podcast, for that community. The issue with most people today thinking about podcasting is they're going into it thinking about it with the wrong perspective. If you go into a podcast thinking about it from the perspective of this is going to be a money grab for me, you are absolutely going into it for the wrong reasons. You are likely to not succeed, and you are likely to very, very quickly burn out. Podcasting is not there's no way you can do this for a money grab. You could be in this for the money. But when you first start as a podcaster, I don't care how famous or non-famous you are, your channel has to grow. Monetization comes with growth. Like if you're expecting YouTube to monetize you, right? If you're expecting to get monetized through sponsorship deals, you're going to have to grow your channel. No one's just going to give you money to put their name and their logo or their brand on your channel and you don't have any consistent traffic to that channel. So it takes growth. So it takes the desire to start and not quit in order for you to achieve that success of the money. I'm not doing this for money. That's why I'm able to keep coming back, because I do this for the pride and the passion that comes from my heart. I love to inspire. I love to impact people. I love networking with my community. I love engaging with my guests. I like editing. I like that. It allows me to explore my creativity from many different ways. I get to write. I get to write creatively. I get to speak creatively. I get to edit visually and audibly, creatively. I get to use my music production skills. That's creative. I get to use my networking skills. This thing has done so much for me. Just producing this show and releasing this show has improved me, just helped me interpersonally, in addition to every other existential thing that it's doing for me and for the viewer. I want to remind you that a podcast is not something that you create. A podcast is not something you create. It's something that you finally give permission to live. It's already inside you. You don't have to create it. You don't have to create it. You may need to explore what's inside you to kind of package it, but you don't have to create and come up with some wild idea for a podcast. Your own life lived experiences are what make you you and what make you unique. And your unique story, while it is unique to you, will attract others who've had similar experiences. And that's your podcast. If you're trying to impact people and inspire people with what you're doing, you don't need to create and manufacture any kind of inspiration outside of you being you. If you're passionate about your life and if you're passionate about your experiences, I sat down with people, almost everybody I interviewed this season is over the age of 50. Almost every single one of them over the age of 50. Some people hadn't even graduated from a college. Some people had just finished their high school diploma and then went back to college. Some people graduated from college, retired. Some people were independent business owners their entire life. Some people went back to school at an older age. Again, all I'm saying is some people started with a small investment and created a major company with it through expanding their networks. I'm only telling you this, that no matter where you are at this age, if you are watching this, most of the people that watch this channel and just going by the data and the analytics are between the ages of 35 and 65. We do have a few people who, under 25 that watch it. But the majority of viewership comes between the ages of 35 and 65. So most people watching this show got gray hairs and and facial hair in their head. Most people are experienced. Most people have worked a career before. Most people have had children and maybe even empty nesters at this point. Most people that are watching this show, have a lot of life experience to share, a lot. And all you have to do is be willing to talk about them. And I'm talking to you. I'm being honest with you right now. I'm sitting in a room, I'm sitting in a space, and it's just me and some lights, camera, microphone, just me and you. I don't know who you are. I don't know. I mean, if you hit like, if you hit subscribe, I'll know who you are. If you comment, I'll know who you are, but I don't know who you are. But I'm talking to you and I'm doing this for you. Today it's midweek. It's early part of the week and you're watching this on Thursday or Saturday or Sunday or whenever you see this. You might be watching this 2 weeks after it airs, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, a year after it airs. And guess what? I did this for you. That's the impact. That's the impact. Let's talk about what a podcast is. Let's talk about what a podcast isn't. Let's redefine what this microphone, what it means to be sitting in front of a microphone, what it means to sit in front of a camera and have people's ears and have people's attention. Get rid of that thought that I'm not interesting enough. Your story doesn't have to be flamboyant and dramatic, and you don't have to be able to tell it in some dramatic fashion in order for your story to have relevance and value, right? Like real talk, like the most powerful podcasts that I've ever seen are the ones where they're regular, ordinary people who have overcome things through extraordinary odds. Like they're just regular, ordinary people, and their story is extraordinary because as a regular person, they endured something that most people would find challenging. That's power. That's authority. That's inspirational impact. That's the potential of all of that in your life. A podcast is it's not a broadcast. I think people think of a podcast like a news channel, a news network, or a strict set of construct where it has to be like this and it has to be like this. And man, a podcast is a conversation. It's just a conversation. I'm having a conversation with you right now. It's a conversation at scale. I invite someone in. Okay, so if I invite someone onto my show, it's like me inviting them into my home and me sitting down with them and having a conversation with them about whatever it is, whatever the subject matter is. And then after that conversation is over, they leave my house, the show's over, the recording is over. I do a little bit of editing and I upload and release that episode for the world to view. It's just a conversation that is exposed to the world. That's it. If you think about it in that perspective, it's not so much a big deal. You have to be willing to have a conversation with someone on a camera. You have to be willing to let other people see and hear that conversation. That's what a podcast is. It's really all it is. It's a conversation at scale. I want to remind you this. When you start a podcast, your community is going to find you. You are not broadcasting to strangers. You're broadcasting to that community of people that relate to the content that you're delivering. And they will find you, but they're waiting on your specific voice. They're out there right now looking for your specific voice. They haven't found you yet. Think about that. Think about that. I tell stories on this podcast that give people from my hometown and the college that I went to and some of the circles that I've been involved in an opportunity to share their stories and impact other people's lives. Now, could they create their own podcast and share their stories? Sure. Could they go on someone else's podcast and share their stories? Sure. For many of my guests, I was the first podcast that they've ever been invited to, or first time they've ever shared some of those stories. That fills me with pride because that means I'm impacting lives. That means I'm providing a platform for people to share their story. That means more people are inspired by watching this show because I have one story, but my guests have another story. Everyone watching the show is not going to relate to my story, but they might relate to my guest story. And I bring on a variety of guests. So there's going to be something for someone eventually on the show because it's all about inspiration, no matter where it comes from. That's impact. You can have that kind of impact as well. There's someone that's searching for the exact perspective that only you can bring. They just haven't found your podcast yet. Let me break down a few things about what a podcast is and a podcast does. A podcast builds community. It builds community. It gives people that are scattered and isolated in different parts of the country or world, for that matter, a common theme, a common place to come to and relate on the same subject matters, building community. Another thing that a podcast does, it establishes authority. It establishes authority. Whatever your podcast is about, however deep you go into the layers of whatever that theme and that conversation is, you're establishing your level of authority in that subject matter each time you release an episode along the lines of that subject matter. So, for example, inspiration. This show is all about inspiration. I don't want to say I'm an absolute authority on inspiration. By no means, I would never say that. But I am providing inspiration and becoming an authority on inspiration by nature of the fact that that's all this show is designed to do, is to inspire people through stories. So now I'm becoming the authority on how to pull inspiring stories from people and how to inspire people through word. You become an authority. I'm becoming an authority on podcasting, on editing, different skills and techniques. You know, every time I edit, every time I make a mistake, every time I learn from that mistake and correct it, I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm building and establishing my experience and my skills so that I can help other people like yourself. Another thing the podcast is, we talk about, it builds community, it establishes authority, it expands your network. Podcasting expands your network. When I first started this podcast, I've interviewed over 30 people at this point. Every single one of them I know personally. However, I wasn't in tight community with them, throughout all these years. Some of them I hadn't spoke to since high school. I'm talking about over 30 years ago. I'm talking some of these people I haven't spoken to since high school. I'm rebuilding that network and reestablishing that network and strengthening that network. On top of that, as a result of interviewing these guests, I've been linked up with other people that they say, hey, you should interview this person. You should interview this person. Contact this person to find out this. Like, I've been exposed to other people through that network. Through the fact that I've done this, I've had people contact me and say, hey, I see what you're doing. I would love to be a guest on your show. And I love that. I love that. It means that I'm doing something right. It means that I'm making an impact. It means that people see the value and the quality of what I'm doing. It means that I'm providing a service to people. And that's what keeps me coming back time after time. So it builds community, establishes authority, helps build your network. And another thing a podcast does is allows you to market products and services. Now, I'm not here to market products and services, so to speak, although at the end of this episode, you'll see that there is a service that I am providing and offering to you. But on my episodes, they're not designed necessarily to market and market and promote products and services. However, when I bring a guest onto my episode, if they have apparel to sell, we go market and promote that. If they have a book that they've written and authored, we go market and promote that. If they have a product of any kind or service of any kind that they provide, we are definitely going to market and promote that, right? So a podcast is also an ad agency, a commercial tool, right? Think about it. If I do an interview on a podcast and I'm marketing and promoting my product or my service on that podcast, instead of having someone create a promo ad and me having to go take that ad and pay, Google or YouTube or Facebook or what have you, not to disrespect or discredit paid ads, but I'm talking about people who want to start and grow at scale organically. I could just take a clip from that interview and repost that clip on my media pages to at least expose my product and service. And that becomes an ad, as opposed to me paying someone to create an ad for me. On top of that video clip, put your phone number, email address, contact information in the comment section and post that clip. And now you have an ad. Like, it does so many different things. So we talked about a podcast builds community, establishes authority, expands your network, markets products and services, and it preserves your story. It becomes a piece of your legacy, right? You and your guests now have a piece of your life preserved for future generations to observe, to gain that knowledge and wisdom from, for your children, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren to say, this was my mom, my dad, my great great granddad, what have you. And I'm just so deeply honored to be able to create something that years when I'm gone, my kids will be able to look back and have memories of me, positive memories of me impacting people, having fun conversations with people, showing my personality a lot. Building community establishes authority, expands your network. You're able to market products and services and, save your legacy, preserve your story, build that legacy, man. It impacts so many lives along the way. Let me tell you who should start a podcast. You should start a podcast. You should start a podcast if you have a perspective that helps people. If you've talked to people in the past about how to overcome something and it's helped anybody, maybe you should have a podcast because you have a perspective that can help people. If you have a process, the way you do something that somebody can learn from, you can start a podcast. I don't care if that process is one thing, how to fold sheets. You start a podcast on how to fold sheets. Of course, not too many people go on and watch episode after episode after episode after episode of just you folding sheets. But you will be surprised how many people don't know how to fold sheets and that will just tune in for a few minutes just to see some tips and pointers on how to do it. If you have survived and overcome a health journey, someone else is going through that health journey, that's a podcast. If you survive and overcome an abusive relationship, someone else is going through that abusive relationship, that's a podcast. That's something that can help someone. If you've built something, a business, a family, you've invented something, you've created something, that's a podcast, it's an episode. And all types of content, conversations around that topic can be generated. So I'm asking you, your community is asking you, what have you done? Where are the interesting points in your life? Don't say I don't have no interesting points in my life. Yes, you do. If you've had a health journey, you got interesting points. I'm intrigued by everybody's health story, good, bad, or ugly, because overcoming it is what inspires me. How they went through those challenges inspires me. I know somebody in my life, in my family, in my lifetime that also dealt with that disease or dealt with that health challenge. And so I'm intrigued by those stories. All I'm asking you, all I'm telling you is tell your story. Do it in front of a camera. Do it on a microphone, and you'll impact hundreds, maybe even thousands. And you'll feel good about that. Give yourself something to do. Build yourself, like I said, build your network. You can stay as small as you want. You can grow as large as you want. You can take this thing to the moon if you choose to, but nothing else. It gives you a community to come back to day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And that fills me with pride. Let's talk about the technology I keep pointing at. Don't compare yourself to others. If you want to start a podcast, if you want to start having conversations with people, the only thing you really need is a cell phone. As long as you have a mobile device in your hand, you can start, produce, edit, and upload a podcast. Or you could just record a podcast and upload it. You don't even have to edit. That's your choice. I edit by choice. I can produce live shows and not edit. That's by choice. You could choose your style. That's by choice. Technology, again, start where you are. That's my whole point. Start where you are. If all you have is your cell phone, use it. If all you have is a laptop with the built-in camera and built-in microphone, use it. If all you have is a webcam that sits on top of your camera, use a laptop, use it. If you have a professional, SLR, camera, use it. If all you have is a USB mic, use it. If all you have is like one of these, use it. Whatever you have, use it. If you need lighting, if you got a lamp in your house, use the overhead light. Use the natural light, like open the blinds, whatever you have access to in order to provide yourself the opportunity to create the most engaging content that you can create with what you have. Start there. Don't compare yourself to someone who's been doing it for a year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. Start where you are. Now, you can set yourself up for success and purchase a bunch of equipment, but now does your passion and your desire match the amount of money and investment that you put into this? So start where you are and build that passion organically, build that consistency organically, go through the trials and errors. I went through trials and errors doing this. This ain't even my first podcast. I've done audio podcasts in the past. This is not even my first time being in front of a camera, being in front of audiences. I've done other things and I've parlayed that into this. So pull off of your past experiences and allow yourself the permission to be an authority in the space, be an authority on a subject matter, to open up and create conversations that help build and strengthen communities. So, at the end of every episode, when I'm interviewing guests, honestly, if you watch every episode all the way to the end, even sometimes through the credits, a lot of times the credits will roll, and after the credits roll, I have some B-roll, just clips from general conversation that we had before or after the episode. I kind of leave it in there, ad-lib type clips, and you hear a lot of times the guests express their gratitude and appreciation and thanks for me inviting them onto the podcast and how much it helped them, what it did for their spirit, and what having a platform to express themselves in that way, what it meant to them and what it means to them. I am honored to be able to provide that platform. It is a blessing for me to be able to give my peers in my community that opportunity to share their stories, to create that legacy. Again, when we talk about sharing your stories and creating a legacy, I'm not creating a legacy just for myself, but each of my guests, that's a legacy for them to share with their people. Right. And it's also a resume builder. There's a line item that they can put on their resume of experiences. I want to help you get your podcast off the ground because I believe in the stories. I believe in the impact. I believe in the impact of small communities. Why do you think there's thousands and thousands and thousands of churches? Because they believe in the impact of a small community. And with the impact of that small community, churches, sometimes they go out and do missions. They go out in their own communities and do other things and impact even more people. And each individual in that church can take the messages that they've learned and the things that they believe and impact others, their own selves individually, outside of what the pastor or the preacher might offer them on at a service. So, I mean, that's the power of impact and the power of offering your voice and sharing with other people. The podcast that will change your life and change other people's lives is not something that you got to go out and find. It's already in you. It's already in you. Revisit Your Dreams was already in me. Revisit Your Dreams as a title was not something that I sat down and brainstormed like, man, I got this idea for a podcast, what I'm going to call it. I started using Revisit Your Dreams as a hashtag many, many years ago, just as a point of inspiration to myself, just to inspire myself to keep going. Many years ago, I produced the album, produced and recorded the album. I produced all the music, I wrote all the lyrics, recorded all the lyrics, rap. And I had someone help me a little bit with a couple of the songs on the mixing and mastering. And I released that album. I released that album in 2015. So it was 11 years ago. It means I was 39. I was 39 years old, going to 40 when I released that album. As an older rapper, as an older person trying to get into hip hop, that was a long time ago. That wasn't yesterday, but I was still 39 years old. I had to remind myself that there's still power in me doing what I'm doing, that I should give myself permission to follow my dream, that age is nothing but a number, that it's never too late to pursue it if it's in your heart and if it's a passion of yours. it's something you want to do. So I'm here to help you record whatever's inside you. I'm here to help you get it out. I'm here to help you record that story. That story is in there, right? That community is inside you already. I'm here to help you pull it out of you. I'm talking to you if you're the entrepreneur has been meaning to start something meaningful but don't know where to begin. If you are the community leader, you're a leader in your community and you have a message but you don't have a platform. If you're the creative person who you got a vision but you have no way to get it out, like you don't have a roadmap, you're unsure how to get those visions out. You're a professional with 20 years of wisdom with no platform to share it with those people, no one to engage that wisdom upon. I'm here to help all of those people, to help you. If you're one of those people, I'm here to help you. So here's how I can help. It's not so technical as it may sound. You start with your idea, then we develop your identity around that idea. We develop your voice. We figure out what your schedule is, how often you're able to produce and release content. And we keep the podcast creation around your life schedule. Like, we're not going to redesign your whole life around a podcast. We're going to design a podcast around your life. We're going to scale a podcast into your life, into your everyday life. So, yes, does it take some time to, do a little bit of research? Does it take some time to set up? Does it take some time to record and communicate with guests or communicate with someone you might be helping you edit or what have you? Yeah, those things take some time. So if you're not currently doing any of those things, yeah, there's going to be 3 to 4 hours a week that you're going to have to dedicate toward doing those things if you want to start a podcast. But 3 to 4 hours a week is not 40 to 60 hours a week. Some people don't want to start a podcast because they believe that it's going to totally reconstruct their life and their livelihood. And it doesn't have to. It can if you choose those methods, but it doesn't have to. You could do a 10-minute podcast once a week from your phone, straight raw video upload. That's an episode. If you choose to, that's up to you, your choice. How polished you want it to look, how long you want every episode to be, what type of guests you want to have, if you want to have guests at all, what type of editing you want to occur. That's totally up to you. And it will all dictate how much effort and time and energy that you'll put into the podcast. But I can help you with that. I can even help you structure a podcast around your life that makes sense for you, that's easy to manipulate, that schedule and stay consistent. Let's work. So here's what I want you to understand about starting a podcast. The moment that you release your very first episode, you started to build community. The very moment you released your very first episode, you started expressing vision. The very moment you release your very first episode, you're no longer in it by yourself. You made a public declaration of whatever you're saying. These words I'm saying right now, as soon as I release this episode, when you're watching this right now, I can't go back on what I said that I could do for you because I released it. The moment you release it, there's impact, is all I'm saying. I'm not trying to scare you. I don't want you to be fearful of this. The moment you release it, there's a community already waiting for you, is all I'm saying. It's like an airplane landing and there's a whole group of people waiting on a tarmac to cheer on that airplane landing. The person in the air doesn't know that there's a whole group of people on a tarmac waiting to cheer them on until they land. And they land and they find out, man, there's people already here waiting for me. Yeah, but you had to land first. You got to put it out there first. It says, I want you to, I really want you to pursue this vision if it's something that you want to do. You ask me, is it worth it? I put the question, is it worth it? It is very much worth it. I want you to reach out to me if this is something that you want to do, if this is a venture that you want to embark upon. This is season 3 for me. I've conducted over 30 interviews with guests, and it has been the ride of a lifetime. No pun intended. To be honest with you, I really have enjoyed these experiences. I'm looking forward to season 4. You can reach out to me simply by DMing me on any of social media sites. Here on YouTube, you can send me a message. You can email me If you're on Facebook and Instagram, my Facebook is just Johnnie King. You'll see the Revisit Your Dreams banner if you get to the right page. You on Instagram is still_chill_Leroy. You can reach out to me there. You can email me at johnnieking03@gmail.com, JohnnieKing03@gmail.com, or you can email me at stillchillleroy@gmail.com. That's stillchillleroy@gmail.com. I'm accessible and I'm here. I'll walk with you face to face, hand in hand, like, we'll be on the screen together. We'll be sharing the technological tools necessary to adapt and create your podcast. I'll walk with you hand in hand and get you started. And I won't leave you out to dry. And we'll get that first episode off the ground and make sure that you're very confident about producing and creating your second, third, and so forth. I look forward to doing that. I'm offering different services as well. So just DM me. I'll be glad to provide the types of things that I could do for you. Again, I can help you create the podcast in terms of creating the identity of the podcast, the voice of the podcast, the title, the theme of the podcast, logos, theme music, open intro, outro videos, help you with training with understanding software and understanding social media tools needed, a technology needs assessment where we assess what you currently have and talk about what you need based on where you're trying to go. You can start with just a cell phone, but if you're trying to do it on a certain scale, then there are certain things that you need, and we can talk about those needs. So I'd love to help you. I'm here to help. Next Up Social Media is the name of the company, and my services are reasonable. My prices are reasonable, and let's get started today. But man, so, to answer the question, after all, has it been worth it? It's been absolutely worth it. Season 3 was amazing. I'm going to do a quick recap real quick, and then we're going to end this one. But if you hadn't watched season 3, I encourage you to go back and review if there's episodes that you missed in season 3. The thing about this podcast, the thing about Revisit Your Dreams is I don't interview the same type of guests every single time. So every single story is going to be interesting and engaging and unique and different. You're going to be inspired in some way. Sometimes you're going to be inspired in ways that you never thought you would be inspired by, because of the different variety of backgrounds and experiences of my guests. Season 3 this season was no different than season 1 and season 2, with the variety of interesting and engaging guests that we had on the show this season. I started off with Amor Carthy. Amor Carthy, she graduated from Harvard. She got a degree from Temple and went to Spelman College in the AU Center, HBCU. So I really enjoyed that conversation, hearing her talk about the differences between her PWI experience, her Ivy League experience, and her HBCU experience in Atlanta. A very engaging episode. We spent, and the length of the episodes, some episodes are longer than others. I have some episodes that are right at just over an hour. And you will see that there are more views on those episodes. People typically consume shorter length content. Some episodes are 2 hours, a little longer. That's when you know that I know that person a little bit more. We have some entertaining and engaging conversations all throughout the episode. So it's not like 2 hours of long, boring conversation. The reason it was 2 hours because it was a lot of good conversation. If the conversation is not really that engaging, I'm going to cut it on the shorter side. And that doesn't mean my shorter episodes weren't engaging. My shorter episodes are packed with engagement. But anyway, I said all that to say, go check out Amor Carthy's episode. I have 5 or 6 different segments, and I think we did 4 of those segments on her episode, which is part of the reason why it was lengthy. So those are fun, engaging segments. You go check that episode out. The next guest, Dorsey West. Dorsey West is an author. He wrote this book, matter of fact, Who Told You That You Were Naked? Very good friend of mine. I enjoyed interviewing him. And, that book was about depression and anxiety, his story going through depression and anxiety. But it wasn't just a whole episode about depression and anxiety and about that book. Him and I shared a lot about hip hop and our passion for creativity and a lot of different experiences. So we had a great time. Go check that episode out. The next episode was Just Bam. Oh my God, Just Bam got one of the hottest singles out right now. It's called Hey Listen, a hip hop artist, just dope. Her episode was called When Hip Hop Culture becomes a way of life. And we talked about her experiences as an MC on MTV's Rap Olympics and being the first female MC named to an MTV Rap Olympic team. That is a thing. That was a thing, at least when MTV was in existence back in the mid 90s. So it was early 2000s was a thing, depth for sure. And she did her thing there. So great and engaging episode. If you want to hear something from a prolific artist, and her taking about her experiences in Atlanta and DC were very engaging. Chris Bond, the next episode was Chris Bond. Chris Bond's episode was called Passion and Profit, Making Room for Both. You know, this guy is engaging. I love talking to him. You got to watch this episode. He has a cadence similar to a preacher, but he don't come across preachy. He just comes across comedic and engaging. And, he's into investing and helping small business owners retire who may not, they're not tied to a corporate structure. And so they don't have 401ks and big, retirement plans. And he's finding ways to help small business owners such as hairstylists, nail techs, barbers, things like that, people like that, find their way after life behind the chair, so to speak. The next episode was Chuck Smith from my hometown, man. Chuck Smith, a.k.a. Mr. Nicely Seasoned. He owns a company, Enterprises by Nicely. It started out as a catering company. He parlayed that. He still does catering, very good cook. I used to grill at the Oakland Raiders Coliseum during the football games, tailgate, big tailgate party there. But he parlayed that into Apparel by Nicely. You can find him online at enterprisesbynicely.com. And very fun episode talking to him about brotherhood, talking to him about baseball. He went back to school. He was one of the ones I talked to about went back to school at over age 50 and about to earn his degree in the next coming months at over age 50. I mean, just amazing story of resilience and bounce back. The next episode was Ika Taylor McCarter. I was calling her Aika. I'm sorry, Ika. Ika, man, just one of the most beautiful souls in the world. I don't know too many people that are as bright as she is, despite the challenges she's facing in her own personal health journey. But just a great, dope bunch crocheter. I mean, one of the dopest crocheter artists I've ever seen. My grandmother crocheted a lot, so I have an affinity for crocheting arts, and her stuff is dope. You got to watch that episode. The thing I enjoyed most about that episode was, one, her joy, but she gave me a product display, man. She showed me all different types of pillows and stuffed animals and sweaters and blankets and stuff that she made. That was pretty dope. Y'all go check that episode out. That next episode was Daraka Shaheed. Daraka Shaheed from my hometown, from my neighborhood, Lofus, but he ain't just a homeboy, man. Daraka Shaheed was drafted into Major League Baseball straight out of high school. And then after his baseball playing years, became president of Young Black Brother Records. Young Black Brother Records is responsible for Mac Dre, Mac Mall, owned by producer Kyrie, that portion of hip hop history out of North Vallejo. Man, go check that out. That episode was called When Black Pride and Black Talent Collide. My next guest was Monica Shotwell. Miss Mo. Her episode was titled Making Leadership a Lasting Legacy. She wrote a book too. She's an author. She wrote this book, My Leadership Legacy, by Monica Shotwell. Anyway, this was, I love that interview. If you want to learn about the true meaning of leadership and how, as a regular, everyday human being, you can impact lives in your everyday life and in your career, you definitely want to tap into that episode. She's very inspiring, very motivating when it comes to rethinking the processes of what you're doing when you're managing people, the impact that you're having when you're managing and leading people. Amazing episode. Go check that one out. My next guest was A.G. Granderson. A.G. Granderson, his episode was titled Passion and Skill, Keys to Multiple Income Streams. A.G. Granderson is a very savvy and experienced businessman. Not only did he create and invent NAMAM Global Radio for the National Museum of African American Music that is right here in Nashville, Tennessee, but he is also the owner and part owner. He works with a team of people, ownership group that own a Weekend Hang Suite in Memphis, former Weekend Hang Suite in Nashville. They also had Supper Club on Barrel Court, Nashville, Minerva Avenue, businesses that are no longer operating, but were very, very popular, thriving businesses here in Nashville. And he's still going and still thriving. His pride for Tennessee State University is clearly evident throughout the episode. So, man, you guys want to check that one out, especially if you went to TSU, you got to check. Or if you just went to a HBCU and you want to hear how other people feel the pride in their school. And the last guest that I interviewed this season, episode 34, was Autumn Prather. Autumn P. Prather, to be exact. Her episode was titled Generational Health, a help guide for mothers. Autumn Prather is an author. I don't have her book. I'm sorry, Autumn, but her book was called Preparing a Fruitful Harvest, One Mother's Pursuit of Generational Health. And you can find her book on Amazon. She's the CEO of a 501(c) organization called the Mother and Daughter Experience. Her and her daughter are co-founders of that organization, which is designed to strengthen the bonds between mothers and daughters in and throughout the community in order to build stronger communities globally. So amazing episode. She's very inspiring. She was a dancer and a majorette at Tennessee State University. So, you can see her face beam up with pride when I started asking her questions about her dancing career and her time at TSU. So I really enjoyed season 3. Every one of my guests, I thank you for taking the time to show up, taking time out of your schedule to come sit with me, even though we didn't sit side by side, but in your own spaces and, use your own time, your own lighting, your own energy and technology to, help me impact other people. And I hope that, the opportunity for you was mutually beneficial because the goal is not just to build a show that benefits me, but it's to build a show that is a win-win-win all the way around. Like, I invite people on here that I'm inspired by. I provide a platform and allow them to tell their stories and share their experiences and provide an opportunity for viewers to engage in stories and experiences that they can relate to and pull from. I thank you again, every single one of you, for deciding to say yes, give me an opportunity to ask you questions, explore your real life stories of trial, error, and success. And if you are an individual who want to help other people share their stories, if you are an individual who has a story to tell, but don't yet have the platform and not sure how to get started, I'm here to help you. Next Up Social Media can provide all of the tools that you need to help you get started. I have to know what I'm doing at this point to have done it as many times as I've done it. Are there other people that have more experience and more knowledge than I have in doing this? Absolutely. But the type of experience that I have and the type of knowledge that I gain has come from intentional trial and error. There's some things that I did on purpose to find out how it would work, what would be the results of it, what might be the backlash of it, and how I would personally feel about it after I did it. Sometimes I'm willing, in these spaces, I have been willing to do something that might be a little bit embarrassing or a little bit confusing to find out what would happen. That's why I'm the right person for you, because I've been through the trial and error. I've done those things. I've done the unsure of what people are going to think, but still put it out and see what happens. I've been there and done that, and I can help you. So I just want to thank you all for watching. Thank you for watching this episode. I want to thank you, like I said, each one of my guests. Thank you for each one of my subscribers for subscribing to this channel. I want to encourage you to keep showing up, to keep coming back. You're the reason why I'm here. You're the reason why I keep doing this. I enjoy doing this. This is a labor of love for me. I was talking to my mother yesterday, and she said, "Son, are you making money from it yet? You getting paid?" And I want you to know that this is not about dollars. My guests don't pay me to appear. I don't pay them to appear. This is a labor of love. This is a labor of passion. This is a labor of expression. What I get out of it, my pay, is experience, is growth. All of these things that I'm doing, I'm able to now learn how to help other people do. What I get out of it is the gratitude and the gratification of knowing that I'm impacting lives and I'm inspiring people. What I get out of it is a resume builder, something that I can put on my resume and show other people and other companies who might need these services, who can use someone like me. that, hey, I now can do this. I have the experience to do this. And here's the proof. Revisit Your Dreams channel on youtube.com is the proof of what I can do. Right. So there's so many reasons to jump in this pool if this is something you want to do. And I'm encouraging you to jump off the deep end and let me help you swim to the other side. I got you. Again, I already shared where you can reach me. You can find me one more time, Johnnie King III, JOHNNIEKING03 at gmail.com or stillchillleroy@gmail.com. Otherwise, you can DM me directly on Facebook. It's Johnnie King. On IG, it's still_chill_Leroy. I think it's the same thing on TikTok, although I don't use TikTok that often. So if you send me a message there, it might not get touched for a couple of days. I'm just being 100. Thank you again for watching. I look forward to season 4. Season 4, stay tuned for season 4. It's going to be very exciting. I usually take a hiatus of about 3 to 4 weeks once in between seasons, and that's to give me time to rest, to recover, to explore some different things, to refresh some of the ideas that I want to do, to record some episodes, to book some guests and things like that. So I encourage you guys to stay tuned and be prepared for what's coming in season 4. All I'll say is season 4 is going to be a season of the arts. I'll say that. It's going to be a season of the arts. So watch while we're gone during this period of time. There's a lot of playlists that I have on the channel. They're segmented. You don't have to watch full episodes. You can watch clips, 7, 8, 10, 5, 3-minute clips. What is it about Vallejo? The V list, my HBCU experience. I got a new one called Off Top. Who got it? Those are some fun games and fun segments that I explore with my guests that you could tap into and then I got a new one also called Hot Topics, Hot Conversations. These are just trending topics and conversations that I may have had with my guests on an episode that once they come up in the media, I'll clip them out and then I'll put them up in Hot Topics. If you remember the Divine Nine, there have been people who have been denouncing their organizations. I had a conversation with A.G. Granderson about denouncing the Divine Nine. If you are from Memphis, there's a lot of conversation about Memphis based on what LeBron recently said. And, a lot of people are having conversations about Memphis. I got some clips about Memphis from what people said about that. So tap into those conversations, go back and watch old episodes, catch up, and be ready for season 4. I look forward to seeing you again on another episode of Revisit Your Dreams real soon. One love. I'm out.